Yeah.
Welcome back. This is Trials Talk episode 14. Very pleased to. I'm not going to point because every time I point, I get it wrong, but he is that way on my screen anyway. Yeah, that'll do. Very pleased to announce that we have a new member of the team, Jack Dance. Welcome along, Jack. Thank you very much for taking the time to just whenever you can, I suppose, between your World Championships, British Championships, and whatever else. So great to have you along.
Oh no, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be invited onto it.
Excellent. Great to have you along, and a bit more insight. We've been relying on Hugo up to now for some trial GB or trial two insight. So that's a little bit more that we can sort of rely on or fall back on.
The pressure's off me now.
What's that?
Pressure's off me now.
That's it. That's it. You can just relax there now.
Not too much, hopefully.
Quite a bit has happened since the last one. I think it's about 2 months actually since we've been one of these. So there's been a number of sort of notable things that have happened in the world of trials. We'll start with probably the biggest one, which is obviously the FIM have finally seen the light and decided to go back to stop allowed in the World Championship, which is I think that's long overdue and probably very much welcomed by just about everybody, spectators and riders, and mostly probably observers alike.
Yeah.
So I did laugh. So I did laugh. Did you read the press statement? What Thierry Michaud said, something like along the lines of, "The sport has evolved. It's reached a point in its evolution." And I was thinking, no, Thierry, stop allowed was sort of 35 years ago when you were riding. It sort of reached that point. But anyway.
Still waiting on the final regulations.
Yeah, well, that's sort of what I was going to say. That I looked up the FIM website yesterday just to see if there had been any sort of final decision on what the rules were actually going to be, and really all it says is that you're allowed to stop, you're allowed to go backwards, and there will be a time limit. But other than that, there's no more sort of detail as yet.
Yeah, we're just sort of waiting, really. It'll be interesting because they outlined what we've wanted essentially, and it's taken the riders a fair bit of time to but we just need the finer details and everything, and then we should be good to go.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Hugo?
Well, definitely welcomed, isn't it? It's almost like everyone's been asking for it for 7 or 8 years or however long it's been. So, no.
Yeah, and
that's been definitely something that all the riders have been wanting. Especially, it's sort of been the talk of the pack. Everyone's been wanting stop allowed, how much it'll be better for the sport, make it easier for the observers, better for the riders, because, we haven't got to rush through the sections, maybe it's safer. So it's got a lot of positive.
Yeah, and I wonder. I mean, obviously, at the end of the season, there was a sort of fairly high profile. Tony basically sort of wrote a bit of an open letter type thing. So I wonder, was that maybe just the sort of straw that broke the camel's back, or whether they were sort of thinking along those lines or not?
If it did, fair play to him. It needed doing. It needed to come from the top, didn't it?
I mean,
I'm surprised.
He's very persuasive as well because his figure in the sport, will want. So if he's saying it, something's got to be done.
Yeah, and with HRC effectively saying it as well, then, and there's no bigger weight behind it.
To be honest, all the teams were pushing for this. I know Gasper were definitely pushing. Albert was pushing all the time. Just answers, and we've got the answer that we wanted. We just have to see if they change the level sections or they keep the level the same. This is something we don't know until we've worked out on these final regulations. But it'd definitely be interesting to find out.
Yeah, you would imagine they're probably going to have to sort of tighten the sections up a bit. But probably they won't. I can't see them changing very much, to be honest.
They can make them a bit more awkward, can't they?
Yeah.
Stop allowed.
Well, they was awkward anyway.
To
do the sections we were doing.
Yes.
Well, everyone was stopping anyway, weren't they? So
That's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
but it just gives it a bit more safety, you know, when you're going up for a big step, that you can have a bit of a think about what you're doing, get your body in the right position, and then go for it and give it a good effort rather than sort of rushing into it and sort of not knowing if you've done it enough or too less. So it's interesting, and we'll just have to wait till Japan when we walk the sections to see if they've made them harder or stayed the same.
that would be interesting, wouldn't it, that first round?
Especially Japan being our first round. I mean, I don't know. They're pretty hot. Them observers over there. They're keen, very keen.
Yeah. They are. I watch a lot of that Japanese championship on YouTube. It's brilliant. But the minute the rider, because I don't think they're allowed to go backwards in their championship, and the minute the rider goes backwards, that's it. The whistle's blown and boom, out the section.
I'm all for that. Yeah.
Sorry, Hugo.
I'm all for that. If it's the rule, then that's the rule, isn't it? At least you know where you stand.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's always been the main problem with no stop, isn't it? Is how far can you push the rule until you get penalised? And it's just, at least it's a level playing field now.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah, it should make it. At least when you're watching videos on social media, you're not going, well, that's a 5, really. You know, it was just farcical.
Right. Or whatever that observer's feeling sometimes, and that now will take that away because it's just time at the end of the day.
No, it'll make the observer's job. Well, it won't be easier, but it should be a bit easier at least for them. But you'll at the end of the day, if you 5 Tony Bowie's always going to argue. It doesn't matter what, unless he's lying under the bike or something. But that doesn't happen very often.
I'd say it makes it 10 times easier. At least it's not.
But the observer's only got to think about one thing.
Yeah.
You know, the time and how many feet you put down or whatever, but it just makes it easier to understand for the spectators as well. So will be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be. It's definitely. I mean, it's like I said, it's definitely long overdue. It should have happened a few years ago. Yeah, but
definitely.
Anyway,
it's interesting that Michaud's still in the same position within the FIM as well. I thought it would coincide with him stepping aside, but
well, maybe you never know. That may well happen. I think there's a big FIM meeting this weekend. The trial commission and the things. I think that's happening in their, was it Geneva, their headquarters this weekend. So, you don't know. There might be something new comes out of that. I would say probably the rules will be thrashed out, and then we'll find out probably next week or very soon after that what the actual detail of the rule will be. Right, moving on. There's quite a few riders, obviously, to have changed bikes sort of over the winter period. Most notably, probably Adam Raga moving to Sherco. Well, he didn't really have much choice, did he? Because he wasn't re-signed for TRS. But we did sort of predict that was probably where he would end up. It was probably the worst kept secret in trials, really, that one. I suppose the only thing to say about that is that obviously Sherco have spent an awful lot of money developing a new bike with fuel injection and everything else, and then the first time Adam Raga comes out, he's riding one with a carburetor. Bit strange.
I'm not sure that goes down well with the car. Would say that's down to them.
Well, I guess it's just down to his preference, isn't it? I mean, when I spoke to him in Barcelona, he sort of said that they had got a good base setting with the carburetor, and they were going to try and sort of tune the fuel injection in to that. But he felt that he just needed to be at that level sort of straight away, which he didn't feel with the fuel injection. So I don't know whether maybe over the course of the season you'll maybe see him debut in the fuel injection one as well, I would say.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, I spoke to Binkaz just before Barcelona, and I don't think he was too happy because he spent the past year on the bike trying to tell him maybe to develop things, how to do. And maybe none of it come about, and then Raga comes, and then all of a sudden changing bits on the bike. I don't think it is sort of what you buy. So yeah, I don't think he was too happy about it, but we'll see. He's still on the same bike that he was last year, so we'll see if they give all the factory riders the same or similar spec bike, or they keep them as they are.
Yeah, he's a guinea pig.
It's pretty hard to have a new technology, then your number one rider doesn't ride the same bike, isn't it? Like, how can you sell that bike then?
Yeah,
but I suppose he knows what he wants at the end of the day, and he knows what performs well and what level he can perform at. And I mean, it showed at DL12. You know, he can still really put in a good result.
Yeah, he is still a good pilot.
It obviously works well with the carb, doesn't it? It's just a funny, it's a funny situation, I would say, but
yeah,
it sounds well. It's good. It's not like it sounds out of place.
Yeah,
so
no,
especially being up close to it at DL12 or in Barcelona, it's not like it's struggling or nothing like that.
Yeah, no, it definitely did. It sounded lovely there in Barcelona, I have to say. I suppose what was I going to say? I haven't ridden a Sherco, but I've ridden a Scorpio. I've ridden both a 250 and a 300. The 300's just too much. I couldn't personally, for me, I couldn't ride it. But the 250 with the fuel injection, I thought was actually a really nice thing to ride. Really smooth, really nice power delivery. I think I could have got used to it very well. So obviously, I don't know whatever it is that about the fuel injection that just doesn't suit Adam. I don't know, but
yeah, it's a lot more direct, isn't it? A lot of, like, you don't get that feel on the bottom that you get with a carb. Do
it's
you?
it's very
like
it's very instant.
Yeah.
Right,
which I can imagine would be pretty hard to get to grips with straight away, wouldn't it?
Yeah, especially I suppose, especially too when you're going into those, real big, you've got the thing revving flat out before you're dumping the clutch. You got to be fairly confident in what
to go into
the feel you're getting from it. So I suppose if it's working for him, then fair play.
The vertigo to the gas gap. It's seeing him do that. He's asking a lot. Because they're two completely different bikes at the end of the day. Injection and carb are completely different. With Busto's setup, he's near enough pushing it towards being very awesome. So he's very happy with the bike now, and I mean we all are. But they've been pushing so much for it to be quick off them and have that high end torque, which is it's good for us. It's good for the team because he's always pushing, always through the bike. And the results are showing it. The bike has got some power, and no doubt about it. I think he can push for some more titles this year.
Yeah, we'll come back to Busto because I want to say something about that too. I suppose the other sort of big, well, not really big change. It was Jalabert took obviously Adam's place in TRS. Aniol, that is. Miguel Jalabert has signed sort of officially for Vertigo now, which I suppose was a good enough move for them too, because he was putting in some good results towards the end of last year.
Yeah, he came on strong, didn't he?
He had a good few top fives. I think he nearly get in the podium. I think in the last one he just missed out. It was fourth, I think. So that's good for him. Fajardo has announced his retirement. I was actually hoping Matt did say he would try and get on, but he's absolutely flat out with work at the moment. But he had said, I think in our last episode, that the rumor he'd heard was that Fajardo was going to trial 2 on electric motion, but he's just announced his retirement. So I'm guessing that's probably not going to happen.
Has he said he's retiring, or has he just said he's not missing out on the year because of his shoulder or neck injury?
Oh, I don't know. I sort of picked up from it that he retired.
I think the way I understood it was
Go ahead, Hugo.
So the way I understood it was, like Jack said, I think he's having. It sounded like he was taking a year off to like let himself repair in a way, was how it was worded. But whether he will come back.
I don't know whether that was an excuse because he couldn't get a contract or what.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
He'll be the one that knows.
there might be a bit of pride involved in that, maybe.
Possibly.
He doesn't want to
It,
be
it,
forced.
it did sort of seem a bit like that.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be forced into retirement. He'll retire on his own terms, sort of. Right. Okay. Back to, well, actually, no. On riders and contracts and everything else, Jack, give us your news.
I'm very happy. I've signed for Gas as well, so that's really good opportunity for me over the next so. But yeah, I'm really happy and really happy with the bike. So yeah, it's all the way up from now. So just got to put some really good results in this year. Hopefully, be more consistent and everything. But yeah, hopefully it'll be a good year.
No pressure.
Yeah.
Do what you've been doing. Is that? Did you say that's for 1 year, Jack, or more?
2 seasons.
2 seasons. Oh, great stuff.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well,
really good news. Because I know the last time we sort of spoke, you weren't too sure what was what was ahead for the next couple of seasons. So that's brilliant. That's a, that's
you never know what's on, and you can't really confirm nothing until you sort of signed on the dotted line. But yeah, I'm really happy. I always have been. So it's a privilege for me to ride that I love. So yeah, just got to put in the results and try and keep it.
You could cut you in half, and it would say Jack gas down the middle, wouldn't it, Jack?
Oh yeah, that's the theory.
Like a rock. Yeah. No, that's excellent. Right, coming back to Busto, I noticed in Barcelona that just you saying about the bike and changing. I know they changed the exhaust and they've done a few other bits and pieces. I actually thought that off the bottom initially it actually starts to sound a bit like a Vertigo.
It does sound like it's sucking very bottom and it's drawing a lot of air. But yeah, that bike is unbelievable. I mean, we're running similar engines, but just his personal preference and little changes is unbelievable. And it's how he likes to ride the bike. I mean, his clutch, you need 4 fingers to pull it in, but still, that's the way he's used to. I mean, Petrol even worse with how stiff his clutch is. But yeah, it's crazy, that bike. Really good though. It's rideable as well.
It looks. I don't know if you remember, but Brownie used to ride when Brownie was on a gas. He had a front pipe that was very similar to that, didn't he? For a couple of seasons, a real short one. It's like maybe it's been tried before.
Yeah, like small tweaks that they can do to a bike can make massive differences.
Yeah, like I say, it was just a note out of it when off that right off the bottom. It has that sort of vertigo-y sort of gasping for air type sort of sound.
I suppose, to be honest, they made that bike to suit his style, and it's difficult for someone to change so quick. But he definitely suits the gap 100%, the way he rides it and his style and everything.
Yeah.
But as you know, it's personal preference at the end of the day. Some people want slightly bit more power off the bottom. Some people don't. It's just down to the rider.
Why did he change the forks? Do you know why he changed the forks? Because he's moved away from the Kashima ones, I noticed, back to the sort of the olive coloured ones.
Well, they're actually, maybe we should cut that bit out, actually.
I'll cut that bit out. That's fine. Okay, so that's bikes pretty much done. International indoor. What's that?
I was just going to say, it's interesting how, like, Busto's technique's so different, isn't it? It's all, like, about timing rather than, like, strength or, like, pure size.
Yeah.
It's interesting how that relates to, like, having a really sharp, instant bike, like, power delivery. Because it just seems to work so well.
Riding style, though, because it looks like he doesn't move so much on the bike, but his reaction time is so quick, you almost don't know what he's doing.
No, his timing with his movements is so perfect.
Yeah. And
he doesn't need as much, does he?
Yeah. It's just so stiff. So he's almost ahead of the bike all the time. But such an amazing rider to watch because he's got that unique riding style.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you say, he looks like his legs are straight all the time. You sort of wonder where he gets
Yeah,
that lift. You know, obviously you watch Tony, you watch Gabby. There, you can see the effort that they're putting in, and then sometimes Busto comes along and just looks like he's playing about in the section. You're like, how the hell has he done that?
Yeah.
But anyway,
he's always been like that. Even like when in juniors and stuff, when you used to see him, it was like straight legged everywhere, and he'd just absolutely flatten everything.
Yeah, he hasn't. Yeah. It hasn't changed.
No.
Well, it works for him, obviously. So why, if it ain't broke,
yeah,
don't fix it.
So it works pretty well.
Yeah, it seems to. Moving on then, right? So international indoor series. Obviously, we've got Toby Martin is a permanent rider now in X Trial, off the back of probably podium in Madrid last year. He got the sort of factory engines, I think Tony's engines from last year, and first time out he gets a podium in X Trial. So that's probably worked for him pretty well, I would say. Obviously, then in the sort of that international series that I think it's the same guy, isn't it? It's Bernard Estropo. He runs them.
Bernard.
Toby's had a win. He's beaten Tony twice.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, one of the times he finished second, even though he still beat Tony. So he seems to just really have gelled with that new power unit. Obviously, it's given him the confidence to be able to ride at that same sort of level as those guys, which is fantastic to see. I think he's had sort of 2 or 3 good performances there now. So fingers crossed moving forward into the outdoor season with the stop allowed rule and everything else. I'm going to predict big things. I think regular top 5s for him outdoor. I think even is really where he needs to be aiming at.
And fair play to Toby, it's a completely different bike at the end of the day to what he's used to, and he's probably still trying to learn how it rides. But when he does ride it, his riding style and like level has just improved massively since having that bike, and seeing him training out in Spain as well with us all. It's good to see. It's good to see. Really good.
Yeah, I mean,
good for British trials.
He just looks so smooth. I think sometimes, and when he's confident and when he's riding like that, he's hard to beat.
Yeah, I think it's probably in a way done him, not to speak for him, but then the bike he had last year was probably quite a challenge to do the sort of sections that you had to do in Trial GP on it. So probably the amount, how hard he had to work to be able to do it on that bike. Now he's going to get this factory.
It was a standard bike at the end of the day. It was standard.
Not far off. Yeah.
So
and now
he had to learn to do the proper techniques and everything. And yeah, he's very good at a front touch, I've found out.
Yeah. That's what
Definitely
I mean.
Technique.
Being able to do them sections on a relatively standard bike, then you get a factory bike, you're going to be flying, aren't you, really?
Yeah. And it's a massive confidence boost as well. New bike, the sort of, the engine that he's got, knowing that it's maybe Tony's or something like that. It's a massive confidence boost at the end of the day, to know that he's probably done it before. So, and he's got the trust in that bike.
It's the tool for the job then, don't you?
Yeah, and that's what, at that level, that's what it's all about. Just those little incremental gains, the confidence, the power, everything else. It all just tiny things that all add up to make a big difference. So yeah, absolutely. Wish him the very best for the season coming in. Hopefully, be able to get him on for an episode. So fingers crossed in the coming weeks we can organise that. Actually, sort of. Well, no, we'll carry on. British Championship. New promoters, finally. A little bit sort of late to the party probably with that, but Sam Connor is sort of heading up the section. I had the guy's name written down there. What's the other guy called?
Harry Huskinson.
That's him.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed that'll all keep moseying along the way it was with under Brian's stewardship, and
it seems positive. Sam as section advisor definitely it'll make the level more consistent over the year. And Sam's he's not just the sport; he's been in the sport years, and he knows the level of trial riders. He knows all us riders, and it's someone we can go and talk to. Maybe if it needs changing. That's the advice at the end of the day, and hopefully it will be a really good season for British Championship.
Yeah, I think it's good having that rapport with Sam, that everyone knows him. He can ask questions to riders, and we can go and tell him stuff as well about sections. Hopefully, it should only improve things, shouldn't it? I mean, it was good. It was good last year, so if it gets any better, it would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even if it carries on just at the same level for the first year guys are in charge, that'll be job done, really.
A bit disappointed to see the number of rounds go down, though.
What's it down to 6?
I think it is now, isn't it? Yeah.
I did have the calendar there. I was looking for it, but I must have deleted the picture I took on the phone.
When they first come out, Hookwoods was down for the Saturday and Sunday, but it might have been that they didn't know which day it was going to be.
I think so.
I think it'd be good
to have a youth trial, so the Youth British Championship, and then on the Sunday obviously the Trial G Series. So that'll be interesting. Maybe if they're trying to try it out to see for next year, they can change some things. Maybe make more of a weekend of it. But it would be good. Maybe 2 days. It would maybe help the youth. If they're in the same area, they can watch the top riders as well on the day too. It's all about helping the sport and promoting the younger riders at the end of the day.
Yeah, I didn't
know
that
they're going to be the next generation. It's an idea. If that's what they're going to do, then maybe it's a good idea and way forward.
I think that'd be It always used to be good when there was double headers and things, because you got people there and then there are people staying over. You get a bit more atmosphere, don't you? And I think getting the youth and the adult championships closer together is only a good thing, really, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I think the Trial 125 class in that with the British rounds is a superb way to bring the sort of youth into the championship, and it's produced a couple of world champions already, so one of them sitting over there.
Point the right way, Russell.
That way. I keep telling myself don't point, and then before you know it, you've pointed. It's pointless. Right. What are we going to talk about next then? Barcelona Indoor, first round of the X Trial.
Someone bagged a media pass, didn't they?
Somebody managed to get a media pass. Yeah, worked out okay.
Left me at home.
I saw you running around the corners, getting all the angles and everything.
Did you? I was trying to act cool and not run anywhere, but you get the excitement gets the better of you, and you end up running about like a big girl. It's all fun and games. Funny the sort of or quite surprising thing that's come out of that is that Gabriele Marcelli, which is the correct pronunciation. So we all know now. There's no excuses. He is very popular, and I've had a number of messages and even some phone calls saying, "Can you get him on? We want to hear more." So there we go. That's so I'm going to have to try and work on that one as well. We'll see. His English is very good, actually. So I don't think
it wasn't.
So really, he was quite funny actually when we were talking to him before we started.
Some potential content soon.
What's that, Jack? Sorry.
Some new content, Spanish rolls.
That's it. That's it. You got to do these things. Barcelona Indoor, it sort of went pretty much true to form, didn't it? Tony is getting older and getting better. Signed a new 4-year deal.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Which is that's ominous for everybody, really. I don't know. I don't know whether there's a get out clause in that for him. If he decides, if he does start to get worse, which I don't see happening.
He's going to want to end on a high, though, isn't he? 40, I heard. Would be nice.
Another 3 years. Yes, but I mean, you got to say that's possible.
Yeah. Still, when you watch his riding, he's so smooth and precise, and it's not like it's changing. And there's not really any riders as smooth or, pushing that same level. So, and it's experience at the end of the day. How many years has he been at the top?
Yeah.
So he's going to know how to ride the trial, even if it's slightly going wrong or a bit of pressure's on.
Yeah.
He's been in that situation before.
I think
that's it, isn't it?
That sort of that experience, you see that when he gets behind. I think in a final, it's just that sort of relentless pressure that he puts on people, and sometimes they just crack, sometimes they don't, but generally they do.
It's his like hunger to win still as well, isn't it? You see when he goes behind in a final in an X trial, for example, and he just pulls something out of the bag that no one else can match.
Yeah.
And it is like you say, when the chips are down a bit, he rises even further, doesn't he?
Yeah, he seems to be able to you think he's riding at the top of his game, but no, he's still got that little bit that he can just sort of add the wee cherry on top there just to really annoy people.
Did you see the metal box section with the tubes along? That horrible drop down.
Yeah.
He was the only one that did it clean every time.
Yeah,
but because he was so smooth at dropping off, just, his body was in the right position. He wasn't rushing or none of that, but he made it work.
Yeah.
And he didn't stump out. He didn't have a dab, none of that. So
that section scares me, to be honest. I think that's dangerous. I think if you came off that sort of over the handlebars and put your arms down through those gaps in the metal bars, I think that wouldn't end well for you. I think even probably your foot could go through some of them.
They looked quite wide, the gaps.
Yeah. I noticed, was it Aniol? I think it was Aniol Jalabert. Actually got the front wheel. There was one where they sort of came across at an angle onto one of the boxes, and he turned the front wheel. Instead of turning the front wheel right to go up the box, he lost his balance and went left, and the front wheel went into the gap. Yeah, and he had to sort of pull it out. I don't know if I got I'm not sure if I got a video of that or not, but
At the start, they was all a bit iffy about wanted it just one way, but Tony was like, no way, like you do both ways, because at the end of the day, he thrives. He can ride fast and still precise. So, if it's going to favour keeping it both ways, then he's going to save it. Yeah. But I just found it a bit interesting that, he just wanted to keep away while some of the other riders were wanting it just the one way.
Because it was a long section anyway.
He probably sees it and he knows he could get a bit of advantage on, doesn't he, maybe?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. And even the wooden crates that were only used in the final, his ride on that was incredible.
Yeah.
Did you notice it was identical to one of the Trial International Cup? That first trip was exactly the same. I can't remember if it was Schomburg. It was exactly the same.
It was the one that Billy Green rode.
I noticed that, yeah.
Because there's a video of Billy Green going up it actually quite nicely. So Tony won, obviously. Jaime second, only just actually ahead of, but I mean, Tony was on 11 marks and Jaime was on 21.
Yeah.
It's just like, but it's such fine margins between getting through a section and 5 in it. And obviously the 5 soon add up if you don't get through.
Because they have the 3 marks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
you know,
Any more than 3 and you're on a 5. But
you don't have to do much
yeah.
wrong with the sump rule as well, then, do you?
yeah, there was some strange one.
Yeah.
I noticed a couple of guys that sort of lifted it up off the sump and went back, and
Just got
they were only on a single.
That's still
Yeah.
a one. That's still one.
Is it?
is it
If
in the
it's
rule?
the direction of where you're going, then it becomes.
Ah,
I
Okay.
asked the same, and then I asked. I think it was Toby. He said, "Yeah, you can sort of move side to side, but it's as soon as you turn when it
oh, right,
changes."
yeah.
Okay.
But he did say that asked the question, well, what about on one of them cylinder things? And they said, well, it's made up as it goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Strange.
the next rule that needs to go, in my opinion.
Yeah, it doesn't really.
Are them trial internationals, are they the same? Is it just the DL12 that
Yeah,
allows?
I think the international ones are the same.
They wanted it not old school, but like how they. And I think the riders prefer it that way. It's safer. It's well, especially for the young riders.
Yeah.
It's safer for them, especially if it's their first time out. It gives them a bit more confidence, not having to go up on this massive pipe and go off the wheel. It is difficult in that sense.
Yeah.
It is, isn't it? It does push you to like almost rush a bit, doesn't it? To try and like get right onto the top of something, and you could easily go wrong.
Yeah. Right. So
What?
we'll go back to Busto second, Marcelli third, only one sort of more mark. He was 21, or Busto was 21, Marcelli's 22. And I think he would have been disappointed with that, and with his recent form and the way he was practicing, the way he has been practicing stuff. And I think I said before, in the previous episode, which I'll put a link to, or in the Barcelona episode, I think he sees himself mentally. I think he sees himself above Jaime now. I think he thinks he's the heir to the throne there with Tony. I just got that impression from him.
He put putting the effort in, and the way he trains is unbelievable. He's regimented about everything. He wants everything perfect, which I know it's good for him, maybe not for others, but everything he does, I saw him doing this online for like 2.5 hours and maybe get it twice, but it's just wanted it perfect. And that's dedication at the end of the day.
Yeah. And that's what makes a champion. I mean, you look at Tony. He was there to, like, the sections were closed at 3:00, and Tony was there at 3:00 looking at them. Jaime was not really anywhere to be seen, to be fair. But
no. It's a little bit like two ways of doing it. Like the rock star. And
but you sort of exactly.
It's what we're doing it.
It's got exactly, yeah. It's whatever works for you. And I don't think
9, and he was there at 10. So
right, okay, all right, fair enough.
I'm not saying, I bet you get that impression from Busto, don't you? That he loves a laugh and play around, but he puts the effort in, doesn't he?
Yeah. Oh, well, they all do. They all do at that level.
Yeah.
He definitely puts his race face on, and you can tell when he's in the zone.
Yeah.
He does to joke around a bit, which is good. It's nice to be relaxed as well.
It's good.
I don't know if I could do the same, but that's just.
I would say in the last couple of years, you can see it probably does. It seems to matter more to him. I think when he was on the Vertigo, it was like, I don't really care. I'm just going to go out and do my thing, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, well.
Yeah, it does look a lot more like he wants to win more now, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, he did say that. He did say that. Like, he just said, I want to be world champion. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Fair play. What else was I going to mention?
I was just going to ask one. Are there any rule differences between the trial internationals and X trial then? So just the results seem quite different between like the ones we've had at the beginning of the
But
year.
I think the level is naturally easier. I think
Is that what it just makes it a bit closer? So
yeah, I think it's, and that's why it makes it a bit closer. So, X trial, they want to show at the end of the day that, I don't know,
yeah,
people want to see Tony win. And people were upset when Toby won because, I don't see why. I think it's brilliant, someone pushing the top rider. But for some people, he's like God and he needs to always be at the top. So it's difficult, but definitely brings all the riders closer together at that international. And it shows, one unfortunate mark, it changes everything. And when you're pushing and putting pressure on everyone, that's when you see results. And it's really good to see the different results because other riders pushing everyone.
Yeah, no, that's what I was asking really, because it is good to see.
Yeah, I think, as you say, Hugo, it is good to see, and if you get the likes of, I mean, obviously there's Jaime won one of them, Toby won one of them. That just gives them that little extra boost in confidence then as well to take forward in the X Trail or whatever it is. I think the results look a bit funny because they do that speed round or whatever it is. And I think they mark it differently. I'm not sure what way they mark that, but it's like 20 marks or something if you get through a section or something. That's what it looks like when you add up the marks. Anyway, that's what it looks like. But maybe Jack, do you?
But I suppose that's Bernard at the end of the day. He wants a show maybe instead of a trial. So it's sort of getting that balance. And sometimes it's difficult because we don't really know what's going on. It's a show at the end of the day.
Yeah, they look a good show, to be fair.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. And definitely that last one they've just done, definitely put the effort into that one.
Yeah, do you see all the Peaky Blinders stuff at the back with all their faces on and things?
I think the section was that safe though. I remember Mark a couple of weeks ago, he said he was hanging onto one rope with one hand and just sort of steadying him. He said, look down and it's just straight to the floor.
So yeah.
And he was like, I didn't want to do it, but then he had to go and stand there for when Busto was doing it as well. So he said one bit I didn't like.
Yeah, some of that scaffold section that looks hairy enough now if you get that wrong.
The amount of design and stuff you have to go through and work to get temporary works for scaffolding and stuff. I wonder if they've got all that for that.
Yeah, I can't see anybody in there checking the scaffolding tag.
Yeah, didn't really look at that bit.
No, I bet they didn't.
Yeah,
we didn't see.
Yeah, there's not even a ladder secured anywhere in sight, is there? Just clamber up it whatever way you can, and hang on to that rope at the top. Yeah, it does look hairy. I don't know. There was I think probably the worst crash I think I've ever seen in indoor was, I think it was Madrid in about 1997. You've probably seen it on YouTube, and it's that old sort of waterfall thing that they used to use all the time in the Spanish and the indoors. And Mark Colomé got right to the top of it and fell off the left-hand side. Oh, it was...
Yeah, he got his foot stuck, didn't he? And he just went off the top.
Right off the top. Yeah, well, right into the water. It wasn't probably lucky actually. The water was there. Probably broke his fall a bit, but yeah,
that was cool though. That waterfall, wasn't it?
Yeah,
back in the day.
Because they used to be able, because it was built in segments, and they used to be able to change the segments about and make it different for every one of the trials. Yeah, those were the days. Those were the days back before you were born, Jack.
Yeah, just go for the evidence.
Right. Anything anybody else wants to say? Wants to talk about? Mention?
That's it, really. And what did Busto say anything to you that you was quite surprised about?
I think the only thing that surprised me about him was I was talking to him before we did the wee interview, and he was quite relaxed and quite happy to talk. And as soon as we started recording, it was kind of like he got that dry mouth. It was like he was like
he did look shy, yeah.
Yeah, he did. And so I was like, right, I'm not going to put him through anymore. So I just asked him 2 questions and went, right, that'll do. And then after we finished, it was like he was back, like back in the room.
Yeah.
It was quite funny. But
I remember, I was surprised with how much English, but he actually speaks all right. But at the start of last year, he had to record something the motor guiders, and it had to be in English, and he couldn't get it. So one of the mechanics had wrote on a bit of cardboard and was holding behind the camera with it all up. I mean, he read it like a robot. But yeah, we would all just stood around laughing. I don't know how he did it with us. It took him about 30 goes.
Yeah.
And he was fed up by the end of that, but good laugh, definitely.
Yeah.
Were you nervous, Russell, doing all your interviewing?
No, I was all right. You just get stuck in.
You was in your element. You had your little notebook and everything.
Yeah, well, I had a few questions and stuff. I'd written some stuff down on the plane on the way over, just so as I wasn't standing there going, But yeah, no, it was all good. It was all good. It was good to get in. I'll probably try and get to another one maybe later on in the season. There's a Geneva would be quite convenient to get to, because it's literally just in the airport, and where the trial is actually in the same building. It's all connected there. Geneva Convention
in that
Center.
arena there.
Yeah. But unfortunately, that's the weekend of Scotland starting, so can't really do that one. But I'll maybe do one of the other ones sort of after the summer. In the second half of the season, I'll maybe try and get to another one. I want to try and get to all the British rounds this year and try and do the sort of highlight videos from all of them, and sort of keep that going.
That'd be good.
That'd be good, yeah.
Yeah, we're doing all right on those ones actually. There's one of those videos is like 32,000 views or something like that. So we've about 105 or 106,000 views on all that British Championship stuff. So
just on a British Championship.
Yeah, it's well
good to get the coverage.
Yeah, it's like that's quite a lot of views. If if any company there that maybe want to sponsor that coverage, that's quite a lot of exposure for your money there. Get in contact. The details are in the channel there. If anybody would like to come on board and maybe sponsor something, that would be brilliant. It would save my bank balance anyway, I'll tell you that. Weekend in Barcelona is not cheap, really. But anyway.
When's your Sherco coming, Russ?
What's that?
When's your Sherco coming?
When's the Sherco coming? Oh, are you referring to our new color scheme, our new logo? Yeah.
No, I just had you down as an Adam Raga fan. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Yeah.
He's got the kit, the one piece.
I have a couple of one pieces actually, but I don't know if I could fit in them anymore.
I wish you wouldn't wear that one piece.
No, do you not like it?
Not a fan.
No, I don't know.
That's very.
I'm sure.
I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at it purely. I mean, if I was sort of, what is he, 42 now? Is he 42? I think 42, and you can still fit into a one-piece suit. Why wouldn't you wear it?
Oh yeah.
If you've got it. Yeah, he seemed very, very relaxed actually. And no doubt that'll show in his riding as well. He does seem quite sort of relaxed and laid back. I don't know if that's because he's become a dad or whatever. Maybe it is.
Yeah.
But he was still doing some lovely stuff in the warm-up area. He was doing some just really nice little flicks and turns, and it was just classy.
No, he was riding it well, wasn't he? Straight away.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see how he gets on this year.
Yeah. Well, he said his goal was podiums again, just to try and get back consistently onto the podium. So, yeah, see what happens.
Just unfortunate live, and he's still got the level. So we'll just say.
Yeah, well, he missed the round, didn't he, last year with his injury and stuff? So
yeah.
yeah, we'll see how he goes.
I think that was just it. I think, when you miss a round, you maybe lose the motivation for the championship, and it is unfortunate. But hopefully now he's found some motivation, new team. He's got some good results already on it. So just say push for the outdoor season. I mean, we've got till what is it? The end of May.
Yeah, it's late, isn't
it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. Right, yeah. That's pretty much it. I think we'll wrap it up there. If anybody's still watching, brilliant. Thank you for sticking with us for whatever that's been. I don't know, 40 minutes or whatever that is. Don't forget to like and subscribe and do all that. We will try and get a bit more regular content going again now. Had a bit of a break over Christmas and the New Year there, so